Koko Networks is a company that a Kenyan startup that I thought was selling alternative fuel.
Yeah.
For cooking, for stores. And then I heard that they had gone down. But I found it so interesting because of two words, carbon credits. I thought the business model was just to sell alternative fuel. Like, how does carbon credits
tie into the business?
Hey guys, before we continue, we've realized that 84% of you are not subscribed. So please help us out.
It will go a long way to help you this channel get known a lot more.
Our goal is to reach 100,000 subscribers in this quarter. Stop laughing. And each and every subscription takes us there. Thank you.
Welcome to the Admin Access podcast.
Welcome to the Admin Access Show.
2026.
And welcome to 2026. Yes, we know it's February. But we're welcome anyway. Yeah, there's a lot in store for this year. Thank you for joining us. For those who, the OGs who joined us last year.
All 256.
All 200 and... 200?
I'm not sure.
265 of you, I assume.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Dominic, how have you been?
Man, it's been I've had 90 days of January, but I'm happy to be here, yeah? We're opening the year strong, so...
We are opening the year strong.
Yeah, we should definitely pick it up.
Do you know who else is opening the year strong?
Who else?
Trump.
Nobody can take us. Nobody. We don't want to have it. We don't have a discussion.
That's right. We're talking about
We're never going to
Venezuela.
No. We're not changing our tact in 2026. No politics. This is a politics-free
We don't deal in politics.
Politics-free zone.
Only clickbait.
So I absolutely already messed that up.
Let's just move on.
Let's just move on.
Okay, yes.
We start with local news, Koko Networks.
Koko Networks.
Koko Networks is a company that a Kenyan startup that I thought was selling fuel.
That is not a good laughter.
You can imagine the shock on my face.
That is not a good laughter. That is very condescending.
Not condescending, not condescending. Actually, to be honest, when I first heard the story, because I've seen them even around my neighborhood, and in my mind I was just like, hey, these guys are just offering alternative fuel.
Yeah.
For cooking, for stores. And then I heard that they had gone down. Now, startups closing or shutting down isn't anything new. I mean, it's business. Business is all about risk. You have to take risks.
Is a 13-year-old startup a startup, really?
I be thinking, bro.
We have started startups and failed, so, let he who has no sin cast the first stone. But I found it so interesting because of two words, two very keen words. And fortunately, I have the head of Carbon Credits Kenya.
I am not the head of Carbon Credits Kenya.
We have the chief lobbyist for Carbon Credits.
Yeah, this is how you get put on the spot without...
You don't find that suspicious? You don't find that suspicious?
The word from the article says, Koko obtained a political... No, in this case, Koko's business model relied on institutional carbon revenues from credits approved under the first phase of CORSIA. CORSIA being an acronym for some long UN-type organization that I have no idea, that I cannot find at this moment. And so, trying to understand, I thought the business model was just to sell alternative fuel. Like, how does carbon credits
tie into the business?
And I'll lay out my bias beforehand. I think carbon credits is just vaporware.
Okay, let's not get into carbon credits. Let's just
No.
Koko first.
I'm here with the CEO of Carbon Credits Lobby Group Kenya, and you have to account for this.
I will account for words that I have said, not words that are being put in your mouth. But anyway, let's go ahead.
Yeah. So I was trying to understand what was their business model.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I couldn't quite make sense in the sense of, is it, because in my mind I thought they were offering like alternative fuel.
And then they charge for the refill of the fuel can that's supposed to be...
It's like fuel, but a subscription.
More eco-friendly and
unquote.
stuff, yeah.
But maybe you can help shed light on what was different about them. Like, what was your understanding of their business model?
So the idea was, I think from my reading, they were serving around 1.5 million households. And essentially, these households would depend on Koko. They have like a burner stove, and they would have like refill fuel that I think was refilled at around 30 shillings per litre. I'm not sure about the exact measurements, but it was meant to be subsidized at a really huge extent to be very affordable for many households. And the goal for this was to pull people away from alternative, like the pollution emitting forms of like
From charcoal.
They are from charcoal based like whatever stoves and things like that. So that was the premise. Even I thought that was the business model, to be honest, about Koko. Until after the crash, I came to find out the whole model fell through because the management said that they could not score a letter of authorization from the government to be able to sell carbon credits in the international market, which means that they were apparently more dependent on the fact that they were making revenue from carbon credits as opposed to the continuous refill and the product itself, right?
Yeah.
So that's what led Koko to failure. And I know that's where you want to pick up.
Yes, because for us, or for me at least, when you think about a startup, like one of the cardinal sins is you do not, like, your business model should be based off, like the revenue from the business model should be based off you making money from the customers. So in their case, their customers were not the ones who were paying them. So in essence, they were just a glorified NGO, quote unquote. Is that a fair characterization?
I think there's more nuance. Let me give an example.
Did they ever have an intention of making money from the sale of the fuel?
No, I don't think that was ever going to be the model for them. The same way I can say we get search for free because people pay for ads,
advertisers pay.
We are
That's
users. We are technically the customers.
We're users, not customers.
No, but here's the thing. Even for them, their customers were different from who their users were when you think about it. It's just the nuance of how they'd laid out the business, which for me was a shock. I didn't know that. Probably it wasn't a shock for anyone who knew about Koko's business model and everything. I'm sure even them, I don't want to speak into the politics of them not scoring that letter of authorization. Could be foul play, could not be foul play. I do not know the boardroom conversations that were happening behind that. But I get why they could see that there's a low-hanging fruit here. In fact, we were just discussing about ChatGPT adding ads. And I was talking about, okay, now who are the customers really?
Yeah, who is the true customer?
And will the true customer affect what the users are going to experience? It's the same thing. It's just that we're so used to it in a large consumer play, software distribution type that we can't actually see it. But I think so many brick and mortar businesses that are not technically pure tech or SaaS also do and rely on similar things. Is it bad? I think so. But do you need to do what's right for your business? I think that's also on the person who's on the driver's seat of the business itself. I mean, we keep discussing about NGOs many of these times and how they are funding.
And I kind of agree with you to some extent. If we can say this, that perhaps the business model would have never made money from selling cheaper alternative fuel. Like, there's like a triangle of, cost, quality, and what's the other thing? Like price or something, where you can have two but not have all. And for them, they're going for very high distribution. They are trying to offer at a
very low cost.
Very low cost, and trying to offer a better quality fuel. So perhaps they were never going to make money. Such a thing. But then, again, that's why I kept asking, then why weren't they just an NGO whose mandate is to offer better fueling in terms of cleaner emissions and just receive money? Like, why does carbon credits have to be a conduit for this business model?
Okay, love it or hate it. Do you want us to get into carbon credits?
Yes.
Okay. So that's I think ultimately. Okay, so what's your issue about it being vaporware? Is it the fact that you disagree with carbon credits fundamentally, or is it the fact that you disagree with carbon credits in the context of Koko?
I think it's more of the former than it is the latter. But maybe we can get our definitions and our understanding aligned here.
How do you understand?
No, actually, I'll ask you, since you're the CEO.
I am not the CEO.
Since you're the CEO
I'm just
the Carbon Credit Lobby Group of Kenya.
I am neither any of those things. I'm not even agreeing.
Bro, you made it the topic of one episode.
You know what? This is where I have to pause everything and ask for myself to be quoted on the words that I said. The countries that are still polluting are still now gonna overpollute because they can still be able to squeeze in and negotiate rates for carbon credits that work for them. So essentially, that's them getting a license to continue polluting. And the whole purpose in the beginning of the day, which was reducing CO2 emissions, in my opinion, is becoming like a whole moot exercise.
Okay.
But anyway, let's go. Let's understand it for what it essentially
What is a carbon credit?
So the way I understand it, a carbon credit is essentially like a permission slip for pollution.
I don't believe I'm hearing this.
That can be traded like money. So
It's penance.
it's essentially, I think a carbon credit is like 1 metric ton of CO2, right, in the atmosphere. That's been
It is a metric ton of CO2 that is in the atmosphere.
Yes, that is technically...
That is a carbon credit.
That is technically emitted. Now, from the atmosphere. Now, this is where the arguments for this thing becomes really funny. So, ideally, there are many ways in which these markets are being set up, but it's because of, greenhouse gas emissions and a lot of climate change activism happening around the world. So you'll find that governments set caps for pollution by
in metric tons
in
of
metric tons,
CO2.
yeah, by either large industrial players. So for you to exceed the cap that the government has set in a particular jurisdiction, you need to
Capture some of that CO2 back.
Yeah. And then there's also folks who want to posture. Okay, I don't know if posture is the right word, but show that they are eco-friendly or they're net zero emissions because it's good for their brand, it's good for their marketing position. So they will buy carbon credits to basically say that they are carbon neutral. They do not emit more than they.
I've seen that on Amazon when I was buying some goods. Like, is it like carbon neutral or carbon free or zero emission or something?
It actually is like
it's a currency.
It's actually a currency
like
for
a
some
kind
of
of
these
currency
guys from
people
a
who care about
marketing
the climate.
standpoint. Yeah. So there's two types of markets. That's a complete. I think like a compulsory market that's been set up by governments on pollution caps, and then there's like a voluntary one.
So if you have a factory that's making
large factory
that makes 10 metric tons of CO2, you will come and pay me to plant 1,000 trees so that I can, quote, recapture those 10 metric tons of CO2 through the plants that I grow.
Ideally, technically, that's how it works. So you plant trees and you say, I'm emitting this amount of CO2. This amount of CO2, I know there's metrics and there's whatever calibers for how they can be able to quantify.
Truly distilled, that's the essence.
But then there's an argument. There's and this is where I agree there's a lot of arguments and a lot of cons, especially in carbon credits. Like I think there's one called like the additional argument. So somebody, let's say I have a humongous forest, acreage, right? And I can say, I want to cut down my trees. That means I will be reducing, all the amount of CO2 that I could capture, unless you pay me. So you almost force.
Oh my goodness.
I'm going to kill myself and it's your fault!
Carbon credits to be paid. And
so
you may not even have had the intention.
So not only is this thing vaporware, there is also rent seeking.
There's also rent seeking.
And extortion.
Exactly. Because of what's been inherently now created by the international market about it. Now, that is one argument I completely agree with because what's to say you actually ever had the intention to cut down those trees?
Ooh, plot twist.
Yeah.
That is that one.
This is even more confusing than the first time I heard of NFTs.
Anyway.
And I'm just going to say this. Please, for audience out here who perhaps you deal in carbon credits, we mean no offense to you. But we just believe this is vaporware, or at least I do so.
Explain. I mean, it's technically vapor. It's technically air.
It's perception. It's perception as commodity. And I keep asking myself, like, if someone is going to pay me to plant trees, why couldn't they just use that money to plant trees themselves?
Good argument. But you see, it's not.
And all these things are always happening in the context of they're coming to plant here.
So there's multiple ways in which
there's
guys
enough
quantify carbon credit emission.
US for them to grow whatever, how many trees they need.
So
and they don't need to pay anyone. They can just.
In the case of cocoa, and you see, there's now also an argument to be made of folks who are now switching over to renewable forms of energy that are not pollution heavy. as a means of, like, to actually push for carbon credit capture, for instance. So I can say, because I'm producing EV, I'm cutting down emissions by this amount if more of my EVs are sold. So essentially, I can be able to quantify how much in carbon credits I have saved if this was, let's say, a combustion engine vehicle that is heavily polluting. So I think in the case of guys like Koko, that is the argument that they make.
That because now people are using their fuel instead of burning charcoal and emitting CO2, that they have, in essence, by proxy captured, captured CO2 from the air.
And now you see, now
they need to be paid.
You see the motivation for their business model. Distribution is absolutely critical. Whatever gets them as much distribution as possible, even if it means decoupling the survival of their business from the fuel. Maybe they're even selling everything at cost. The 30 shillings and even the burner itself, I think it was going for like $12. All they cared about was to be in as many households in the country or in the region as possible, because that's the only way they can be able to increase the share of whatever carbon
that they can quote and receive from.
Yeah. So you see, it's like, I don't know. It's interesting. Like when somebody attacked, what I thought was a failure for Koko was just having that single point of failure, which is authorization from the government, was the only way that they could be able to quantify this. That was that is a very big loophole. It's pretty sad. It's pretty sad, to be honest. Me, I felt bad for them.
I felt bad for them in so much as they're a company. But I don't know, when it comes to the whole carbon credits thing, I think I need to be more educated on it. But so far, I'm only convinced that this is like it's NFTs all over again.
I know you're still anti-crypto, but we're still here.
I did some anti-crypto. I said NFTs.
16 years later, we're still here. Okay, well, true, to be fair. NFTs. NFTs are practically dead, man. Actually, there's zero hype right now.
But they've been dead for a few years now.
That's actually true. Evans, I want us to move on. There's something I wanted us to chat about. So I don't know if it's this week, last week, and I have to bring in more AI slop for this one. But an open source AI assistant gained
OpenClaw
150,000 GitHub stars in 72 hours. As in, that was, by definition, already.
And to set the case, to set the mood for this discussion, at least from the onset, the description of this OpenClaw tool was what we wanted, what people said they wanted AI to be. In the sense that people, you wanted, you didn't just want, I mean, it's nice that we had ChatGPT and you ask a question, it gives you an answer, it gives you whatever advice, finds all this information. But many people said that they wanted to see AI being useful is in the sense of, hey, I need this done. I'll just tell you what I need to happen. Be it, send this email, go move this file, blah blah, and AI will just be able to do it behind the scenes.
I don't know, beat on this horse, but I remember. I don't know how many episodes back, maybe 5 episodes back, when I did a really big deep dive on the Sequoia presentation about them saying very strongly agentic AI. I think we were beating on the horse of agentic AI before agentic AI was like super mainstream.
I know, in my opinion, I heavily suspect that it's when you can begin to almost make certain functions agentic or make certain functions very modular. It's like I'm leveraging a swarm of 10,000 agents that are working when I'm sleeping.
But it's so interesting to see the culmination of it happening. So essentially, OpenClue is a bit different from the normal chatbot. It's a personal assistant AI. You give it access to your different things, yes. Calendar.
It's the Rabbit R1, but software.
It's the Rabbit R1, but software. It's like Iron Man's Jarvis.
Jarvis, you there?
At your service, sir.
Gauge heads up display.
Check.
This guy would just ask
Summon
Jarvis,
my car.
Yeah, summon my car, do whatever it is you want. However, this is pretty interesting because of a couple of things. But let's start first of all with the basics, right? So this thing dropped, well, more like exploded like a week ago, as of this recording. It was done by this guy, this cracked developer. You need to check out his GitHub, man. Peter Steinberger. Peter Steinberger, dude is a cracked dev. I think he founded a big project that, it's called PSPDF Kit or something. But now this thing is an OpenAI agent, as I said, that runs locally on your machine. And when we say agent, of course, we said this is not a chatbot. This is not where you tell ChatGPT, write me a poem and whatever.
This is not the WhatsApp AI, which I ask which conversation can I just mark the irrelevant conversation as read, and it starts telling me to find out how a conversation is relevant. First, go read, and it's like you're less than useless.
Yes, exactly. So this thing can run terminal commands. It can manage your files. It can send your emails. It can control your browser. Heck, if you give it permissions and access to your bank account, it can authorize transactions. and I think this is now where things are like...
And that's not going to be unsafe at all.
And
And it has full system access.
Yeah. So, for context, one of its clones, one of the OpenClaw clones, Maltbook, I think it was being done by some dev called Max Schlitt. He went and did, I think he deployed this Reddit for agents, which became also very controversial in and of its case. I'm not going to get deep into Maltbook because it's a whole thing and many people have covered it, and you can definitely go and do your own reading. But what I think I was interested in, like what captured my attention, is moving from the context of AI replacing people's jobs to now we all have personal AI assistants, scheduling our meetings, doing everything. And I think that's what I found extremely fascinating. Like, this thing already connects to your WhatsApp, your Telegram, your iMessage, your Slack. You can tell it whatever it is that you want it to do. I remember I was hearing a use case from a pod that I listened to, and this guy was saying how they literally built a whole fake digital employee, gave it access to all their tooling. Like if it's Notion, if it's, they gave it a ChatGPT Pro subscription, and a bunch of other AIs, gave it access to like a company card. Actually, gave it a whole digital persona. Put it in Slack channels, right? And they would literally tell it like, hey, go research a bunch of folks who we need to have on the interview, email some of them, have conversations with some of them, schedule pre-screening calls, let me know what happened. Then it just runs for like 2 days. And the following week, the producer had already 5 pre-screening calls scheduled and literally just approving. So this is like a whole digital employee we're building out. And I think this was one thing that I really found extremely fascinating, because now we can make tailor-made agents for specific verticals. Do you remember the time that I was telling you, like a legal aid or something, like an agent that's just specific for legal stuff, specific for customer success, specific for all these things, and all these agents actually working together? It's extremely crazy to know you can have like a full-on digital employee working 24/7, and all you're coming in every day is pretty much looking at the recaps of what they did, what they found out. But again, of course...
So the question is, what's the catch?
What's the catch? What do you think is the catch?
Security.
Bruh,
and prompt injection.
That is the scary. And the first security flaw, by the way, was Maltbook itself.
Yeah. I mean, you've given a program full access to your computer, to all your apps and services, in your case, to talk even about bank authorization. And the real question is, what could possibly go wrong?
Yeah. Everything. Everything could possibly. But you see, now here's the problem. This is the eternal debate, right? At what point does something have usefulness versus just a nice feature?
Or rather, the question is, at what point does the usefulness outweigh the risk from the liability?
We have to agree at least at a base level, that we need to give it access for it to be useful. So it's always the tension. It's always going to be the tension. The security is always going to be the melting point and the vulnerabilities that come with the security. So, of course, you can do as best as you can, but I don't think this is a train that's about to stop anytime soon.
Yeah. All you can say is that the amount of security researchers who are going to make a killing in 2026 is going to just it's going to be through the roof.
Actually, you know, that's the one thing. I remember I was arguing with my sister because she's in the field. And I was telling her, I think cybersecurity is like bloated. But right now,
they're going to make a lot of money. Goodness.
That's probably one of the hottest sectors in tech that I can just see over the next couple of years. Yeah. It's just going to be absolutely exploding. But I think the one thing that I was also thinking about is like a Black Mirror episode. I don't know, like it's very... No, to say that it's dystopian, it's definitely an understatement.
Yeah, it's this Deus Ex Machina kind of feeling. It's like, will you reply my emails or will you kill me?
Yeah.
Which one am I getting this morning?